Yeah, the talk tonight kind of struck a chord with me. I think also I wasn't expecting death to, but when you were talking about that, there was just like a sense of like calmness about it for just a moment. But
Yeah.
and
Yeah, imagine if we'd been brought up in a society where that is like reinforced a lot, like death isn't this big bad thing, but everybody you most probably know sees it as a big bad thing.
Yeah, definitely. It seems to be like the end, or yeah, it's just the fear of it. That's the only thing that can get you. Yeah.
But you're always experiencing death because you're never experiencing the past or the future. And in death, that's what disappears is the past or future. And that you lose what you've got or what you don't have, you lose the body. But actually, really, it's always death in every moment because you don't have the body, you don't have the past or future. These are all imaginations. So really what death is the death of the imagination, the death of the belief that you're finite.
Yeah, it's almost like there's a fear of like that full-on experience
Yeah.
of like just reality and no like
It's what you've always been,
yeah.
though. I understand that what you're saying, but it's what you've always been is just reality. You've always been present. You've never actually been your imagination. Your imagination is like a dance that's happening, that's coming and going. You've only ever had this moment, which is kind of death. It's no thing appearing as everything. It's empty and full simultaneously. It's happening and not happening.
Yeah, that's I guess that's sort of like my question actually pertains to that. It's
Yeah.
like wait a second, what was the title? Yeah, the stories, words, and ideas are not reality. That was the title. Yeah, the before the talk, like I like the question that popped into my head was like I realized I've just like been living in like old patterns, like coming back to old patterns, and like I suffer that, sure, but then also like trying to like the immense amount of energy I try to spend like breaking out of old patterns or like old comfort zones or um is also a great deal of suffering.
Mm.
And yeah, it's just tiring. So I'm just wondering like how to,
Can you also see that that's a story? I
yeah,
say,
yeah.
like, there's that you've spent ages like breaking out of these old patterns and the painfulness of it and the suffering of it. Like, who is this one that's suffering?
Yeah, I can't, like it can't be found, but there's like kind of fear around like losing my point of reference.
Mm. Yeah. What's the fear saying? If it says anything.
Um, it's more like an expectation, like um, so maybe it's one of the chakras really because it's like it's an expectation of like misery or an expectation um, of like more suffering,
Mm.
um, of being stuck
Mm.
energetically.
Can you see that that's something you've learned? That's a story that you've learned and that's been believed in. It's not true. There's a part of you now that's all possibilities. There's a story that's used to telling the story of you, and that has a story of like your suffering and what's happened. But can you sense there's another part of you that's infinite possibilities now, that's free of all of that, is really present. Everything disappears there.
Yeah.
It's like a vibration more than it is a mental understanding. There's a, like, I mean, what's a vibration? Maybe I should say an energy. I mean, what is that? But it's like this energy where the speaking is appearing from, but it's empty. It's where this world is appearing from, but it's empty. It doesn't go into time. It's really crazy. It's all empty.
It's because I can see how I can't get there. Like,
Yeah, because the person is always in time. Thinking, imagining is always in time. And what's been talked about is the timeless. But it's here. It's who you are. It's in the intimacy of the sounds, in the sensations, in the feelings, in the room, in the colours. It's the intimacy of everything. And then there's imagination that tells about the difficulty of Brian and his life, and that's okay. And we could work through that as well. Like me and you've done a session and we've worked through those sorts of things. But it's also seeing that that's not who you are and it's not true. And actually, you don't need to endlessly work on yourself. All of that, it's not that you don't need to or do need to. All of that is just imagination now. And then there's pain maybe arising in your body or fear arising in your body, and it feels tight and it feels contracted. But actually, your consciousness is not tight and contracted. Even if your body is, your consciousness is free. Your essence is free. Your essence is infinite possibilities, and it's only here.
yeah, and this definitely, I can, I don't really want to say anything because I feel like it's just going to be a story again.
Yeah, it will.
But
I mean, it
there's,
has to be. It has to be because as soon as we go into words, we go into stories. But there's nothing wrong with stories. Like, there's ones that are more true and ones that are less true, more in line with what's happening and less in line. But they're just not real. They're not fact.
yeah, if I tune in now, like it feels like there's sort of an energy of flatness, like,
Mm,
um, and it feels like a defense, or
mm.
yeah, maybe, yeah,
And yeah, maybe it is. The flatness is in the body, more than likely. Like, it most really feels like a flatness or heaviness in your body.
yeah,
And then around that is the consciousness. What I mean around that is, I mean in the room, in the light, in the walls, in the sounds, is the consciousness. What we're always looking for is the freedom in the feelings. So what you're looking for is a freedom from that flatness, because you've taken the feelings in your body to be your freedom. So the way that you feel in your body, if you feel happy, then you're free. If you feel sad, then you're caged. If you feel flat, then you're caged. If you feel light, then you're free. If you feel bliss, you're free. And none of that's true. It's not dependent on how you feel in your body. What can happen is that you have feelings in your body and then there's lots of seeking. So then we can unwrap that seeking a bit. So you have flatness and then there's like lots of trying to avoid it. But the freedom is actually in the space that's appearing now. So it's like there's flatness and then there's a wanting to avoid it. And the flatness, you're right, it could most probably, it could be an element of it that's a defense, like it resulted from like hiding away, blocking the world out, and that
yeah,
becomes a seeking pattern. And if you relax that seeking pattern, then maybe there can be more of a sense of the non-duality, the spaciousness that's around you. But the spaciousness is around you now, even with the flatness. If you go into the flatness enough and meditate on it, you'll see that the flatness isn't actually inside the body. The flatness also is everywhere. The whole world is flatness. Like there's no entity in which life belongs to. That's imagined. This is life experiencing, not Brian experiencing.
Yeah, it's funny because when I hear you just speak during the talk, like it seems especially like right at first when you start talking, it seems like energetically easier because there's no expectations, there's no need to talk back or like anything like that. Um, but now like something in me is like you need to see it or you need to
Yeah,
understand it or you need to respond or
yeah.
yeah.
Where do you feel that?
Yeah, the only way I could characterize it right now is like really in my lower belly.
Mm. Can you see that that's not true, or does it feel really true? There's something you need to get.
Now I just feel it in solar plexus.
Yeah,
No, it doesn't feel. I already forgot what the story was.
yeah. They come and they go.
Yeah, I don't remember now.
Yeah. That's what they do. They come up and they like the stories appear. I don't know what it is, and then there's an energy that comes up that tries to make it. This is the way it is. Like I have to
Yeah,
do something. It was something along the lines of that you have to do something. Isn't it something you need to get from this talk? And then that passes. But what doesn't pass is the consciousness, is the looking, is this infinite possibilities.
so even like even the body is then
Non-existent. It just
yeah,
seems like there's a body.
because it seems like there's yeah, exactly.
So the sensing and the sensed are the same thing. What we think is we think there's a body sensing the world, but you can't have a body sensing the world without a world to be sensed. They're one and the same. One can't exist without the other. Like sight cannot happen without objects to be seen. Feeling cannot happen without things to be felt. Hearing cannot happen without things that are heard. We always think it's us against the world, like we exist independently from the world, whereas actually it is one movement happening. You're not separate from the world. You are the world. There is no body. There is only what's happening, or you could say there is a body and you're the body and the world. Or you could say there is no world and there is no body. But what people are always telling themselves is, I am just the body, I'm finite, I'm finite, I'm finite, I'm finite, I'm this. I'm good, I'm bad, I'm right, I'm wrong, I've done bad, I've done good. People like me, they don't like me, what am I going to do? I need this, I need that, and all these stories gather in the body, and then there's this tight energy in the body that believes that it's you, whereas there is no you.
Yeah, I can see how I'm constantly telling myself those stories, and then I also like Roger talks about like then there's another layer of suffering for punishing myself for telling those.
Mm.
But like I'm making that up too. Nice. Okay. Thank you,
Thanks,
Lisa.
Brian. Yeah,
Yeah,
nice to speak with you.
appreciate it.
Bye.